Hello everyone, welcome to today's story. Today we follow the gentle yet emotional journey of CEO Tuan and Tieu Hue as they work together to build and take care of a small garden in front of their home. From peaceful mornings, they planted trees, watered flowers, pulled weeds, and nurtured every corner of the garden with patience and love. Gradually, the garden became more colorful and vibrant, just like their growing and deeper bond. It was not only a green space, but also a symbol of simple happiness, where two people found peace after the busyness of life. Through every moment together, smiles, hand-holding, and heartfelt words, we can see that happiness does not always come from big achievements, but from small, meaningful moments filled with love in everyday life. If you enjoy gentle, romantic, and emotional stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next videos. Your support is the motivation for us to continue bringing more meaningful stories. Thank you and see you in the next video. Early in the morning, the small front garden of CEO Tuan and Tieu Hue was bathed in a soft golden sunlight that gently spilled through the trees and across the neatly arranged flower beds. The air was fresh after a night of light rain, carrying the faint, sweet scent of blooming flowers mixed with the earthy aroma of wet soil. Every corner of the garden seemed alive, as if nature itself was quietly awakening to greet a new day. The roses, daisies, and small wildflowers that they had planted together over the past few weeks were now beginning to flourish, their colors blending into a natural painting of red, yellow, pink, and purple. It was not just a garden anymore. It had become a living symbol of their shared effort, patience, and love. CEO Tuan stood near the stone pathway holding a watering can, carefully pouring water at the base of each plant with calm precision. Even though he was known as a busy and serious businessman in the corporate world, here in the garden, he appeared completely different, soft, patient, and fully present in the moment. Every movement he made showed care, as if each flower mattered deeply to him. Not far from him, Tieu Hue knelt beside a flower bed, her hands gently pulling out tiny weeds that tried to hide among the blossoms. She worked slowly and attentively, occasionally brushing a strand of hair away from her face as a peaceful smile lingered on her lips. There was no rush, no pressure, no noise from the outside world. Only the quiet rhythm of two people working side by side in harmony. The morning breeze passed through the garden, making the leaves sway gently and the flowers nod as if they were approving of the love and dedication poured into them. Tieu Hue paused for a moment, lifting her head to watch Tuan as he moved carefully from one plant to another. In her eyes, there was admiration and warmth, not just for the man he was, but for the way he had chosen to share these simple, meaningful moments with her. For someone who once lived a life surrounded by deadlines, meetings, and endless responsibilities, Tuan now found peace in something as simple as watering plants and tending to soil. It was a change that neither of them had expected, yet both cherished deeply. As the sunlight slowly grew stronger, casting soft shadows across the garden, their surroundings felt almost magical. Birds chirped from nearby trees, adding a gentle melody to the quiet scene. The garden, though still young, carried a sense of promise, like something beautiful was still in the process of becoming. Tuan and Tieu Hue continued working without needing many words. Their silence was not empty, but full of understanding, as if every glance and every small action between them was already a conversation of the heart. In that peaceful morning light, surrounded by blooming colors and the calm breath of nature, they unknowingly created more than just a garden. They were nurturing a shared life built on care, trust, and quiet happiness.
Tieu Hue slowly straightened her back after finishing the small patch of weeding, gently brushing the soil from her fingers. When she looked up, her eyes immediately met CEO Tuan's figure standing among the flowers. The sunlight softened his sharp features, making him appear less like a powerful businessman and more like a calm, grounded man who truly belonged in this peaceful place. For a moment, Tieu Hue simply watched him in silence, her heart warming at the sight of how carefully he tended each plant, as if he were nurturing something far more precious than just a garden. There was something deeply touching about the way he focused. No distractions, no urgency, just quiet dedication. She stood up and walked slowly toward him, stepping carefully along the narrow stone path so she wouldn't disturb the freshly watered soil. As she approached, a gentle smile formed on her lips, growing wider with every step. "Anh nhìn xem," she said softly, her voice filled with quiet excitement. "Những bông hoa hôm nay nở đẹp hơn hôm qua rất nhiều." Her words carried a sense of childlike joy, as if she were witnessing a small miracle in everyday life. CEO Tuan paused his watering for a moment and turned toward her. The corners of his lips lifted into a warm smile, one that was rarely seen in his corporate world. "Em thích không?" he asked gently, his voice calm and steady. Without hesitation, Tieu Hue nodded. "Em thích lắm," she replied, her eyes sparkling as she looked around the colorful garden. The roses near the fence were now fully open, their petals layered like delicate silk. The yellow flowers near the walkway shone brightly under the sun, while the purple blossoms added a soft romantic contrast. Everything felt alive, vibrant, and perfectly imperfect. It was not just beauty that she saw, it was effort, time, and love woven into every corner of this space. CEO Tuan slowly set the watering can down and walked toward her. The grass beneath their feet was soft, slightly damp from the morning watering, and the air around them felt even warmer as they stood closer. Without saying much, he gently reached out and took her hand. The touch was simple, but it carried a depth of emotion that neither of them needed to explain. Tieu Hue did not pull away. Instead, she lightly tightened her grip, as if silently agreeing to stay in that moment a little longer. Together, they turned their gaze toward the garden. From where they stood, the entire space looked like a living painting, colors blending naturally, sunlight falling in golden layers, and leaves swaying in a gentle rhythm. Birds fluttered above them, occasionally landing on branches before taking flight again. Everything felt balanced, as if nature itself was celebrating alongside them. Tieu Hue leaned slightly closer to Tuan, her voice softer now. "Em không ngờ có một ngày, chúng ta lại có thể cùng nhau chăm sóc một nơi đẹp như thế này." There was a hint of emotion in her words, a mixture of gratitude and disbelief. Tuan looked at her for a moment before replying quietly, "Chỉ cần em ở đây, mọi thứ đều trở nên ý nghĩa." His words were simple, but they carried a sincerity that made the moment even more special. In that quiet afternoon light, standing side by side in the middle of their blooming garden, they did not need grand promises or loud declarations. The warmth between them was already enough, growing naturally like the flowers they had cared for together.
As the sun gradually climbed higher in the sky, the garden in front of CEO Tuan and Tieu Hue's home became even more radiant, as if every flower had absorbed the warmth of the morning light and was now glowing with quiet pride. The gentle breeze continued to pass through, carrying the soft fragrance of blossoms and the faint sound of rustling leaves. After spending hours working together, both of them finally slowed down, their movements becoming more relaxed and unhurried. The once busy morning had transformed into a peaceful midday, filled with satisfaction and warmth. They walked slowly along the stone path one last time, checking the plants they had cared for, smiling whenever they noticed a newly opened bud or a leaf standing taller than before. Eventually, they reached the small wooden bench they had placed under a flowering tree at the edge of the garden. It had become their favorite resting spot, a quiet corner where they could escape from the demands of the outside world. CEO Tuan gently sat down first, then motioned for Tieu Hue to sit beside him. She did so without hesitation, carefully lowering herself onto the bench, her hands still lightly stained with traces of soil, a small reminder of their shared work and effort. For a few moments, neither of them spoke. They simply sat together, letting the calm atmosphere settle around them like a soft blanket. Tieu Hue leaned slightly closer, resting her head gently on Tuan's shoulder. The gesture was simple, but it carried a deep sense of trust and comfort. Tuan did not move away. Instead, he instinctively adjusted his posture to make her more comfortable. His hand slowly reached for hers, holding it with a steady, reassuring warmth. The garden around them seemed to quiet down even more, as if nature itself was giving them space to enjoy this moment. After a while, Tieu Hue broke the silence with a soft voice filled with emotion. Em chưa từng nghĩ mình sẽ có một cuộc sống yên bình như thế này, she said, her eyes fixed on the colorful flowers swaying gently in front of them. There was a slight tremble in her voice, not from sadness, but from overwhelming gratitude. CEO Tuan turned his head slightly to look at her, his expression soft and thoughtful. Anh cũng vậy, nhưng từ khi có em, mọi thứ đã thay đổi. The words lingered in the air, blending with the sounds of nature. Tieu Hue smiled faintly, her fingers lightly tightening around his hand. In that moment, both of them understood that happiness did not come from wealth, status, or success, but from these simple shared experiences, working side by side, caring for something together, and appreciating the beauty of ordinary days. As they continued to sit there, the garden seemed even more alive than before. Butterflies fluttered between flowers, occasionally pausing as if curious about the couple sitting quietly beneath the tree. The sunlight filtered through the leaves above them, creating soft patterns of light and shadow that danced gently around their feet. Everything felt harmonious, as though the world itself had slowed down just for them. Tuan glanced at the garden once more, then at Tieu Hue resting beside him. A quiet sense of pride and contentment filled his heart. This was not just a place they had built, it was a reflection of their journey together. Every flower, every path, every small detail carried a memory of shared effort and growing affection. And in that peaceful moment, surrounded by beauty and silence, they both realized that what they had created was not just a garden, but a life filled with love, understanding, and lasting happiness.